P4 stands for personalized, participatory, preventive, and predictive medicine. And for each of these P's, for each of this field of medicine, we created like a mini subject online course, what we call a module, corresponding to the workload of 2 ECTS points. The some aspect of our modules that is very important and somehow strangely missing from the usual curricula is the aspect of responsible research and innovation that doesn't get taught separately, but we try to blend it. So if we talk about the topic, we try to raise questions of how to do this research, how to think about the research problems from responsible research and innovation point of view. So we can move. And when we talk about what we try to accomplish, about our curriculum. Curriculum is far more than just some factual knowledge that you can acquire. So you say, okay, I'll join this course and then I'll learn this and this. So we try to think about the whole learning process in a broader sense. So we try to cover with our task and the composition of our program 4 dimensions of learning. So what will you gain through this program? So of course you have to have certain key knowledge that are basics of P4 medicine, that are basics of research, responsible research and innovation topics. However, we try to help you gain this knowledge while acquiring other skills as well. So some research skills. What are the crucial competencies in modern interdisciplinary research? What are the life skills, such as teamwork, such as collaboration, working in an interdisciplinary environment, and attitude and mindset. We hope actually to be a small part of a promoters of the changes in behavior in medical research that are harshly necessary and are happening. So we want to somehow help this happen faster. And then so this is what we define. We try to help you gain new knowledge while acquiring research skills, life skills, and attitudes and mindset. And so how do we know whether we succeeded or not? So on our next slide, we see the way we evaluate what you have learned. So maybe even this evaluation process, or not just evaluation, but the task we thought we designed to be able to evaluate, you will find perhaps the most interesting in the whole process. We have, of course, quizzes that are somehow a first line of checking whether you manage to grasp the basic concepts of each module, even each week. Then we have different online activities that are peer-to-peer learning. So you work in groups. We try, as we have this fortune to have students from different universities, different disciplines. When we create groups in which you will work together, we try to mix you. So to make sure that when a group gets an assignment, gets a task, you will already come from a bit different background. Of course, this might not be as drastic as when you go out in the real world and try to do a project with somebody who has worked in the field for 20 years, very different from your own. However, already I think university defines the way we think, and is very useful to actually work together together with a bit different disciplines, different attitudes, mindset, and competencies that come together working. And of course, the e-portfolio. So what we together created, you will hear quite a lot in the next presentations of with the examples of what we did. With this, I will leave you to my colleague, Professor Sandra Kostic from Medical School at University of Split. I will join you later. We'll help you with the help from Professor Vermanac to talk at the very end of what we succeeded in the form of recognition of what you will learn through ECTS, because many of you left this question in our online form when you registered for this webinar. Thank you. Sandra, please continue.
Hello, everyone. I'm not sure if you can see me or not, but I'm currently at University of Mostar, Bosnia and Herzegovina. So hello from here. Branka told you nice introduction, but I'm sure you want to know about technical stuff, what you will learn, how long, how it will be graded or evaluated, and in the end, what you get from it. So we have 4 modules, and every module lasts for 5 weeks. So you can see here, this is the first module, personalized medicine, how it looks like. So it is an online module. It is going to be held on Moodle Mode platform. It's very similar for Croatian student to Moodle Merlin, or the same, but it can be used by all of the students across the Europe. So here you can see week 1, week 2, week 3, and week 4 that covers different topics. Those are very, very interesting topics. You don't see the screen. I see the screen. Andrea is sharing her screen. Okay. So 4 weeks with different topics, usually 1 or 2 topics per week. And then you have the final week where you have certain kind of assignments. So you can see for personalized medicine, this is an example of the first module where you will learn introduction to P4 medicine. You will get the explanation of what P4 medicine is, and of course to the responsible research and the ethical part of the whole story, and then about tissue engineering, about in silico clinical trials, about biomarkers, and so on. Through all of these lectures, you will not get a typical or standard lecture type. You will get the short lectures for from the world's experts in these areas. So we have expert scientists who are giving these short talks. Then we have pedagogical videos besides these kind of videos, and we have written materials that usually follows those lectures, and some extra scientific papers that cover the recent research information. So there are no standard books that you have to go through. This is a kind of innovative way of teaching, that you get the newest information possible from these topics that we cover in our courses. So besides those, Andrea, you can go to the next slide. So here you can see those materials, compulsory videos that you have to see. So we have the videos from experts and our pedagogy team, and also some YouTube videos that we find interesting and important for covering our topics. Reading materials that you have to go through, and when it all adds up, for example, our first module of personalized medicine, you get about 60 hours, which is the worth of 2 ECTS points. So it is a lot of work, but as you will probably hear from students that went through this course in the previous academic year, it's not that difficult, and it is very interesting. And then you can see that you also have some assignments. So Andrea, if you go to the next slide, you can see those assignments are worth some points. So we do the assessment of your work. every week by weekly quizzes, which are usually in most of the courses around 10% of the total points. Then you have the final quiz, which is at the end. And then you have certain different assignments through different courses. But for example, for our course in the personalized medicine, you will have for sure a written essay. So essay that you have to write on a certain topic. Then you will have to make a brochure, for example, that our last students made brochures about a certain type of condition or illness that they were given. And then, of course, both of these assignments had to be rated by their peers. So what Branka also mentioned, what is very important through our courses, you learn a lot of different life skills. So these skills are important for your future work when we are talking about what you get from our courses. So you got these skills, which are also called transversal skills. So you will be practicing and improving your communication skills, your collaboration skills, because you will be working in teams. Also your critical thinking, because you will have to apply a lot of your knowledge that you gain. And of course, maybe some friends, but what is mostly important, you can also get a possible position for doing your diploma thesis if you are interested in, you discover any of these topics that you find interesting. One of our goals through this project was also to do this match.com with students and scientists to maybe not only get a diploma thesis, but for professors to get a good match for their new PhD students. If they are willing and eager to learn in a certain topic, maybe they can get a PhD position and the mentor can get a good student which is interested into doing that kind of research. So those were our goals. So if Andrea maybe goes to the next slide, we can see examples. So write an essay is one of the assessments that students needed to do in our course, personalized medicine, where they had to cover different topics, but you can see the topics are usually connected through to some kind of ethical issues in personalized medicine. For example, here you can see personalized medicine and racism, or personalized medicine and social inequity, or personalized medicine and patients' data. We know now that we collect a lot of patients' data, so of course there can be a lot of potential ethical issues with that. We did give students guidance or some guiding questions that they would have to cover in their essay. So they had to write an essay and then their peers would grade those essays. And in the next slide, you can see the example. So this is a brochure the student had to make in groups. So this is not an individual assignment, this was a group assignment. So students were given 3 conditions or 3 diseases concerning the diabetes, cancer and cardiovascular issues. So these are the 3 most important, probably, or the most prevalent types of diseases that are actually found in our society today. So they had to make a brochure which is which would be easy for normal people or laics to read. So just like write a brochure that your grandma will understand about this kind of this disease. So these were guidelines for students, what questions should their brochure cover. So what the general introduction, why is it important, what are the issues, are there any examples of good practices, and so on. So we do give students guidelines, and we did get pretty nice brochures, as you can see on the next slide. So here is the example of one of those brochures, and you can see that the students did a very good job. So they made the real brochures that was interesting to see, and also with the most important information about current treatment for a certain condition. So I think that is that for me. Yes.
So thank you, Sandra. And my name is Rosa Karlic. I work at the Faculty of Science. And in the next few slides, I'm just going to again briefly introduce you into the group assignments that we do in our module. And I will do this on the example of the participatory medicine module, because this is the module that I was most involved in. And just as a short introduction, if you maybe are not aware of what participatory medicine is. So if you take an old-fashioned look at medicine and at medical research in general, then in the old days, it was usually done like this, that the doctor prescribes some treatments or scientists do their experiments, but they don't get any input from the patient. So this has changed in recent times, and patients now want to be more and more involved with their health information. And we are also aware that the patient's experience and their satisfaction are important for for the results of these treatments. So participatory medicine in general, it's a cooperative model of healthcare that encourages involvement by all connected parties. So this means doctors, but also patients, caregivers, healthcare professionals, researchers, policymakers, and so on. So as part of this module, we are trying to teach you how to engage with the public and how to evaluate whether this public engagement worked. And of course, as with all the other modules, we also have our module divided into 5 weeks. In the first 4 weeks, you have some pedagogical and expert videos, followed by individual assignments. And then you also have to do a group assignment, which is basically doing your own public engagement activity. And of course, you don't do this without any guidelines from us. You do get guidelines. And according to these guidelines, you first need to define some specific topic that you're interested in and choose a target public that you would like to present this topic to. So it may be patients, it may be patients associations, doctors, and so on. So you do this by yourself. And then you have to decide on the format and the aims of your public engagement activities. You do this in the second week of the module, because this is the week where you actually learn about how to implement public engagement activities. And then you have to propose how you would evaluate whether this activity worked. Because it's not only important that you do something, but you want to also know if you manage to reach the target population. And in the final week, you as a group prepare a final written report and a video presentation of your work. So I have to say that this might be the part Branka already mentioned, and Sandra, that we are trying to introduce you to all of the different levels of ways of learning. And this is maybe something, this group work, that's not so much implemented in like normal education at our faculty. And I think that many of you can really benefit from this. So can I have the next slide, please? And so here is just an example of what our students did last year. And I have to say, I was really amazed by the amount of work that they did and the quality of the finished product. So we had 8 different groups. And they all chose their own topic, and these topics were very diverse, so ranging from prevention of type 2 diabetes to how to avoid peer pressure smoking, then issues dealing with anxiety and so on. So at the end of this group assignment, each group then presented the video presentation, and then we graded this group work. So next slide, please. And so I just wanted to mention that actually we have 5 different learning outcomes in our module, and 4 of these were covered by this group assignment. So when you are doing this group assignment, of course, you will have to be able to list different levels of public engagement in healthcare and in health sciences research, because you need to know some of the theory before you even start embarking on this project. You have to know how to communicate effectively in multidisciplinary academic environments, because all of you are coming from slightly different backgrounds. So we have students from multiple faculties working together. And then you also need to develop a dissemination strategy that takes into account different stakeholders. So you have to take into account who you're talking to, who your target public is. And you also have to examine the importance of maintaining and managing well-being of your patients or stakeholders, and not only be focused on treating the health condition. And we saw in the previous slide that we also had public engagement activities that were targeted especially for this. So not only curing some disease, but also trying to prevent behaviors that could lead to certain health issues. And I think that's it from me. Yes.
Yes, thank you, Rosa. And hello to everyone. My name is Andrea Gelamanovic. I work with Branka at the Mediterranean Institute for Life Sciences in Split. And I will just briefly guide you through the final two modules of preventive medicine and predictive medicine. So on this slide here, you can see just a summary of all the lectures and the different topics we were covering in this module. So for example, with the preventive medicine module, we had lectures from various experts on lifestyle medicine, microbiota, sleep, stress and mindfulness, healthy aging, and also major part was about preventive screenings. On top of that, we had two additional topics fitted within this module, and those are learning about the translational research and the importance with a special focus on the nutrition, and also learning about the specific type of review, which are considered as the golden standard and really on the top in the scientific community, and those are systematic reviews with meta-analysis. In the preventive medicine module, we had also two assignments, where one of them was an individual assignment, where each student was given a certain systematic review that he or she needed to read in great depth and assess the quality of the systematic review, just to gain this critical thinking and examining how to judge if a certain piece of scientific literature is of good quality or it cannot be trusted as much. And the second part of the assignment in preventive medicine module, which was a group assignment, and I'm pretty sure that the first generation of PROMIS students that are today on this webinar with us will agree that this was a lot of fun, because for their group assignment, they needed to create a video presentation on a specific topic related to prevention. So we had various presentations such as why is it important to sleep more, eat less salt, eat less sugar, and stuff like that. But the big part of this presentation was that they actually needed to took this presentation and actually presented it to the live audience. And in this scenario, their live audience were school children at the age of 13 and 14. And we had a lot of fun answering the questions to those children and sharing some of the knowledge that the students also learned within our PROMIS project. In the final module of the predictive medicine, we were dealing with different types of omics data and cutting edge technologies, how to integrate the various levels of omics data into systems biology. Then a major part was learning a bit more about bioinformatics and biostatistics, modeling, artificial intelligence, and we also included a chapter on age-related diseases, which is something that we here at the Institute are working on, and of course with some genetic testing. And on top of all of that, which is quite important, and the whole idea of the whole Promise project was also to include RI dimension, or responsible research and innovation. So of course, also coming and dealing with the patient data and different type of omics data, we were also learning about the responsible research and data sharing for this particular purposes. When it comes to practical work in this final module, the students were given 2 assignments. Again, one was an individual one was the group assignment. For the individual assignment, they had a data analysis task. So just to have an idea of what bioinformatician and biostatisticians do. So they needed to solve, to do some basic data analysis in Excel, and also for some bioinformatic online tools and databases. And as a part of the group project that lasted throughout all 5 weeks of the module, they needed to propose a P4 medicine research project and somehow concerned about each 4 dimensions of P4. So personalized, participatory, preventive, and predictive. And I have to say, from both of these 2 modules and all of their group projects, the students did really an amazing job, and it was really a pleasure to read and assess their ideas, their grant proposals, and their video presentations. So I've seen that many of you had questions about what are the benefits and some practical values that you would gain within this project. And I thought that what would be the best way to summarize this by stating what first generation of Promise students identified as what was the most important for them. So when it comes to the research skills, students assessed that the best part for them was reading and assessing quality of scientific papers, developing critical thinking, learn how to use reference management software that will be very useful for your, well, when you need to write your master thesis and also for your future work, how to perform some basic data analysis in Excel, use of different bioinformatic tools and databases, how to write a grant proposal, and etc. When it comes to life skills, majority of them said that the best part was to learn how to organize themselves, to learn about the time management, group organization, collaboration, taking lead, improving their communication and presentation skills, learning how to compromise within the group to achieve the mutual goal, which is sometimes also demanding for us at some later stage in the career. So it is, I believe, very important that you start dealing with this aspect as soon as possible. And I will just finish this part with just giving you a quote from one of the students of the summary and the feeling about the whole Promise project. This whole project was one great experience. I gained knowledge about personalized medicine, but mainly in a form of highlighting the topics that are important for understanding the idea of personalized medicine. It broadened my horizons quite a bit, and I'm excited to further develop my knowledge in this field. But on the other hand, what I found very valuable and useful for my professional development is the skills I gained and improved. I improved my English speaking, reading, in particular scientific papers, essay writing, and presentation making. Of course, I also improved my communication skills. And even though making videos and presentations live is something out of my comfort zone, as this project is very interactive, I think it is important to keep doing it as it develops our personal abilities as well as our group work. Finally, learning about biostatistics and bioinformatics and how to write grant proposals were, without doubt, the best part of this project. I've learned exactly the things I've been missing out in my studies. So hopefully, if we haven't convinced you by now to join us, I think that this statement really summarizes the best what we were trying to achieve here. And as my colleagues already mentioned before me, we are all very proud and happy with our first generation of Promise students. With that, I will leave the floor to my colleague Tamara.
Thank you, Andrea. So my name is Tamara Milošević, and I'm an independent consultant for higher education institutions for developing pedagogical approaches that will help students to actually learn not only knowledge but skills. And I will present to you the two aspects that even further enhance your experience as a student, as a learner in this program. We don't only have these online courses per se, but we also try to create for you a blended experience with two activities, one which is a transversal activity and the other one which are actually learning expeditions. So I'll tell you a little bit more about them and how do they actually help to connect all the different knowledge, skills, and attitudes that are actually developed through the PROMISE program. They're, of course, done also in teams. So they are going to further emphasize all these things that Andrea told you about, that one of your colleagues mentioned as an experience from last year. So what is the transversal activity, first of all? So the transversal activity really connects all the different modules together. And what we have done with the first generation of PROMISE students last year is to create a P4 medicine survey, which served to try to assess what are the attitudes and understanding in general public about the P4 medicine. This, of course, general public includes patients, but it also includes medical workers, biomedical researchers, so anyone actually that is more than 18 years old across Europe. So this P4 medicine survey was designed by the first generation of PROMISE students. They went through the whole process of learning how to design a survey, of implementing the survey, but also then of trying to disseminate the survey, analyze the survey results, and disseminate the conclusions of this survey. So if Andrea can just click on the next slide. Yeah. So there have been altogether 250 entries in the survey that were collected by the first generation of PROMISE students, coming from, as you can see, many countries of Europe, and mostly, of course, from the countries that were represented in the pool of first generation students, but not only, so not limited only to Croatia and Spain. We also had some entries from different other European countries. So the results of the survey actually showed us some general trends that are very interesting to know about for all of you. There's 3 out of 5 of the respondents that actually say that they're not satisfied with the level of or the quality of healthcare in their country. From those of them that are patients, 3 out of 4 said that they are not familiar with P4 medicine. So this means that there's quite a lot of work that needs to be done in the general population to promote the P4 medicine as a concept. And out of these patients, 4 out of 5 of them actually say that they would like to know more about their medical conditions. So there is a real need for the patients to understand more about their health, of their different choices, and in a sense of knowing what the P4 medicine as an approach can offer them. And this really also shows us that this survey is needed, that we want to continue doing this survey year after year to track this evolution and the tendencies across the different countries in Europe, and to try to see whether in subsequent years there will be some change that will happen. In the same time, of course, what we are aiming for with the PROMISE project and the whole program is to educate you, the next generation of experts, to actually be familiar with the P4 medicine and to reach out to the others to explain this approach that will bring great value to everybody in the healthcare. And so this transversal activity will, of course, continue next year. With Andrea, if you can just switch to the next slide. Yeah. With 3 different components that still need to be implemented. So the next generation of PROMISE students will, of course, take over the survey that has been designed already, and they'll work very actively on trying to disseminate the survey to a much larger audience than the ones that we have had in the first year. After the results are that have been collected, we will, of course, need to analyze the results, learn how to analyze these results, learn how to create visualizations that will show us different trends. And at the end, of course, we will aim for comparing the results of the year 2022, so next year, with the previous years to see if there are any tendencies, any changes that have happened. The whole activity, of course, is concluded with the communication about these results that will happen in a multitude of ways through social media, but also through different events that we will hold physically. hopefully by 2022, there will be less of a problem with coronavirus, and we will be able to hold many events to explain the results of the survey and to make the P4 medicine more known in the general public. Except for this transversal activity, the learning expeditions are probably something that many of you are wondering about and thinking what this might be. And this is truly a very interesting experience for everybody who is joining the program. There will be 2 learning expeditions, which will be physical expeditions. So the students of the program will be going to Paris to conduct one part of the project there. And there will be also a final learning expedition in Split, where there will be the final activity that will take place. So in Paris, the goal of the learning expedition will be to map the P4 medicine ecosystem, which means that you will be working collaboratively to create a database of different stakeholders involved in P4 medicine all across Europe, but with a focus of those that are actually located in Paris. So you will be invited to actually visit the different places, whether they're associations, public or private sector organizations, patient organizations, to understand who these people are that are involved in P4 medicine ecosystem. And the final learning expedition in Split will be, of course, hosted at the Mediterranean Institute for Life Sciences, and it will involve actually working together on creating the P4 medicine research proposals, a lot of interdisciplinary work, and really a final capstone project of this whole PROMISE program. So I hope with this, that was maybe some other reasons why you would want to join this program, because all of these projects within the program are highly complex and very much oriented towards you gaining essential skills, and also things that you can add to your e-portfolio and later on to your CV to justify your involvement and your level of understanding of this topic. So with that, I think I can leave the floor back to Branka.
Thank you, Tamara. Thank you all. I would just like to invite now Professor Verbanac, our greatest PROMISE ambassador, because actually for the first year generation of PROMISE students, many students promised after Professor Verbanac introduced the program to them. So I would ask her to give a few comments on her experience with the program. Andy, please. Just, please don't unmute yourself.
Good afternoon to everyone. It's so nice to have you here, to have all my colleagues, and of course the new group of students that will be enrolling these modules. Hopefully, I work at the School of Medicine. I work at the Faculty of Pharmacy and Biochemistry at the University of Zagreb, and since I worked before at the School of Medicine, I'm happy that also some students from the School of Medicine will also enroll this program. The main goal why we would like to have you here is to really build up your independent thinking. This is the asset that you will bring further on in your professional and social development, and this is something that is really worth for you and for all of people that will work with you. Being independent thinker is the most beautiful thing today, because the knowledge is something that is bringing progress to the society, and the ignorance is something that is really the most difficult and the most evil part of the whole society. So in order to really recognize your efforts, because it's not easy to complete all the tasks that you will be facing in front of you, we really did, for the first time this year, the whole round of saying to the authorities, particularly to the people responsible for granting this ECTS credits at the school, at the Faculty of Pharmacy and Biochemistry, and also at the University of Zagreb. And this has been then adopted by other partners. We really did a great job to really grant you all the credits. So for each module, you will be granted 2 points, which corresponds to the 60 hours of the workload that we calculated for each module, something that really represents the efforts that students are putting in order to complete successfully their module. You will not be granted for the points, of course, if, for example, you were not able to really cope with a task, or you will dismiss some activities. You need to have the badges, and we will be following your progress. And of course, we will be following also the way how you fulfill all your duties and tasks. So it's not enough just to enroll to the module. It's important really to be active, but you will see the things are going very smoothly, and just follow the flow, I would say, and follow the group. And you will be like being on the wings of the others. And this will be quite easy after a couple of weeks, because there is no task that cannot be completed. Everything is designed just for you. So I believe that with this, I will not make any other promises which I cannot fulfill. But what our coordinator, Dr. Branca Bernard said before, we really did a couple of efforts in order to increase dissemination and visibility. And I will just now put in a chat for those who are from Croatia, and maybe someone also abroad can look into what is written to me today. I just received, and I share with my colleagues that tomorrow we will be on national television, because we were happy to be hosted by the one prominent expert in this field from the national television. Actually, the editor of this serial is Dr. Jasna Boric, and she sent the whole crew for the 2 weeks, and we were filmed the film about Promise. And so tomorrow at 2:30, for those who are lucky to be able to be free and look at the first program of the national television, there are some repetition later on that you can also follow, and there is another possibility to follow this also on Saturday. There will be students talking about their experience during the Promise program, and this is something that really can help you also to get familiar with what the Promise means for the students, and also what it means for us. For us, it's quite important because it's something that we planned for not that long period, but then due to the COVID outbreak, we really were happy to start with this without thinking of what is going to happen. But at the end, it was something very useful for everyone. Thank you so much for your attention. And I'm looking forward, we are waiting for you, that we would be able also to design a very nice things together for this next academic year.
Thank you very much. And I would like to go back to the previous slide. Yes, we try to do a lot so that whatever you learned and your efforts are recognized. In any way, the formal, let's say, recognition of what you have acquired is very popular in Europe and globally, in a form of a badge that defines exactly which skills you achieved and who was the authority, let's say, who said, yes, indeed, you acquired those skills. So this is This is a form of recognition that is widely accepted, that you can put on your CV. When we recognize it a bit more formally through ECTS, this allows you to use your time that you worked here, so that maybe you can ease the burden of some other task if it goes towards the total sum of ECTS points that you acquire during your studies. Each institution found its own way how to do the best they can to really recognize your efforts. So Professor Verbanas did a great huge job, so that we managed to formalize this as in a format that actually can be applied even then to other institutions. In this way we learn from each other, but we will do our best to keep on. Now that the first year has finished, we have paved the path so that your involvement can be recognized. So with the practical things, when do we start, and when does each module start? Andrea, the last slide maybe. Yes, so we will finally decide to start on Monday, 25th of October. As my colleague said, each module lasts for 5 weeks. One second module, participatory medicine, will be split before and after the Christmas and the New Year's break. And a bit easier task for you this year than your colleagues had last year. There is some time to breathe in between the modules, so they don't follow directly one another. For the learning expeditions in Paris and Split, we discussed a lot, primarily with you, so with the students from the first year and from the second year, to find the dates that are reasonable for the task we want to accomplish, so that we can actually contact the partners that you would be working with, and that are also fine for you, that you are free from exams and are able to join. How the participants in the learning expeditions will be chosen. So within the project, we have 15 positions for each partner institution, University of Split, Zagreb, and Barcelona, that can come to the learning expeditions, that will be based on the performance and the involvement efforts of the students. So the best 15 will join. If on one institution there are maybe less students than join, this can be then transferred to the second institution. But we already started some additional activities, probably through the student society, where we will have a little bit of flexibility with these numbers, and perhaps we manage to bring several more students with us to these learning expeditions. As we said, all the tasks in the 4 modules are graded. So at the end of your module, you have the grade that is like a percentage of the maximum points that you could have achieved. And these grades would be the basis for the selection of the students. And with this, we talked a lot. I hope you found it interesting. I invite you to ask questions, and I invite the students of the first generation to step in and answer the questions of their peers. You will all get this presentation, and the recording of the webinar will be available. But for the last slide, here are the contact details of at each institutions of your trainers and teachers at the Promise program that you need to contact. So please send the email to the person you see on the slide, stating, I am a student at this faculty, I would like to enroll in a Promise program.